$11,000? That is what you are about to hand over for a shiny red zero turn at the big box store this weekend, and the kid in the green vest pointing at it has never mowed a lawn bigger than a postage stamp. You walked in for a bag of fertilizer. You stopped because the floor model looked fast, looked mean, looked like the answer to those 4 hours you lose every Saturday behind a push mower. And the sticker says 0% financing for 48 months, so your brain has already moved in. Here is the villain nobody warns you about. The lawn and garden aisle of every major chain is not stocked by mechanics. It is stocked by buyers who chase margin, and the brands with the loudest paint and the biggest rebates win the floor space, not the brands with the strongest spindles. That is why you keep ending up back in the same repair shop every July, watching another belt get replaced, watching another deck spindle get pulled, watching another season of your weekends disappear, because the machine you trusted was built to a price, not to a property. Most guys do the exact same three things. They pick by color because their neighbor had one. They pick by horsepower because bigger sounds better. They pick by the monthly payment because 48 months feels painless, and every single one of them ends up exactly where you are right now, Googling why their 2-year-old mower already sounds like a coffee grinder. So here is what this video is going to do for you. First, I am going to name the 5 zero-turn brands that beginners overpay for and tell you exactly why the pros walked away from them. Then I am going to name the 3 brands the pros actually buy with their own money, the ones they will not post about online because they do not want the prices to climb. And at the very end, I am going to give you the one buying rule that makes the whole brand argument almost irrelevant, the rule that is the entire reason this video exists, and I am going to make you wait for it because once you hear it, you will never shop for a mower the same way again. Before I go further, ask yourself something honest. Do you actually believe horsepower is what cuts your grass? Because if you do, you have already been sold the wrong machine twice. Part 1 is the brand trap. And it matters first because this is where almost every homeowner bleeds money before he even pulls the cord. You walk up to the floor model, you sit in the seat, you grip the lap bars, and the salesman tells you this one has a 24 horsepower engine and a 54-inch deck for under $5,000. It feels like a deal, it feels logical. Here is what is actually happening beneath that price tag. A zero-turn mower has roughly 4 parts that decide whether it lasts 5 years or 15. The engine, the transmissions, the spindles, and the deck steel. On a sub $5,000 machine, the engine is usually a budget vertical shaft built to around 300 hours of life. The transmissions are sealed EZT units that cannot be serviced, no dipstick, no drain plug, and they start whining at about 250 hours. The spindles are stamped, not cast, and the deck is 10 gauge steel, which is about 3 millimeters thick, thin enough to oil can the first time you hit a hidden stump. A commercial machine, by contrast, runs serviceable hydros rated for 2,000 hours plus, cast iron spindles, and 7-gauge deck steel that is almost twice as thick. So the punchy reframe is this: you are not buying a cheaper mower, you are buying the same mower 6 times. Now, let me name the 5 brands beginners overpay for and tell you exactly why. Brand 1, the Murray and Yard Machines tier sold at the lowest price points, often under $3,000, built on the thinnest decks in the category and powered by single-cylinder engines that were never meant for the side load a zero-turn deck puts on a crankshaft. Brand 2, the entry-level Troy-Bilt and Craftsman zero-turns, which share the same EZT transaxles as the bargain machines but charge you $800 more for a nicer seat and a cup holder. Brand 3, the base Husqvarna Z200 series, a respected name with a real commercial line, but the floor model homeowner units are built to the same budget transmission spec as everything else under $5,000, and most buyers do not know there is a difference. Brand 4, the cheapest Cub Cadet Ultima ZT1 trims, which look aggressive and ride well for the first season, but use stamped spindles that start leaking grease around the 400-hour mark. And Brand 5, the one that hurts to say, the entry Toro TimeCutter line, because Toro earned its reputation on commercial decks and homeowners assume that reputation transfers all the way down the catalog. It does not. The TimeCutter is a fine 40-hour-a-year machine. Run it 60 hours a year on a 1-acre lot and you will be back at the dealer before the warranty paperwork yellows. Here is what you stand to lose if you keep getting this wrong. $2,000 in repairs by year 3, roughly 8 weekends a season behind a loaner push mower while yours sits at the shop. And the slow grinding realization that the $11,000 machine in the showroom would have actually been cheaper per hour than the $4,000 one you took home. The universal prevention tip for part 1 is brutally simple. Before you look at any brand, look under the deck and ask the salesman to point to the spindle housing. If he cannot, you are not in the right store. If this is the kind of detail nobody at the garden center will ever tell you, do me one small favor and hit subscribe, because every video on this channel is built to give you the answer the guy in the green vest is not paid to give. One click, and then we keep going. Part 2 is a completely different problem, because even if you avoid every brand I just listed, you can still buy the wrong machine from the right company. Here is the thesis. The pros are not buying premium brands, they are buying serviceable platforms. The catastrophic mistake most homeowners make in this second stage is chasing the badge instead of the build. They hear that Skag or Exmark is what the lawn crews run. They walk into a dealer, they see a $4,000 Skag branded residential unit, and they think they just bought what the pros use. They did not. They bought a residential machine wearing a commercial logo, and when the hydraulic pump fails in year 4, they will discover that the dealer network for that residential trim is half the size of the commercial one. The consequence is not a bad afternoon. It is a mower sitting in your garage for 6 weeks in June, waiting on a part while your grass goes to seed and your HOA leaves a note on the door. So let me give you the 3 brands the pros actually spend their own money on, and exactly why. Method 1, the cheapest and simplest route is a used commercial Exmark Laser Z from a local lawn care company offloading equipment at the end of their season, usually October through December. You can find a 5-year-old laser with around 1,500 hours for somewhere between $4,000 and $6,000. The reason this works mechanically is that a commercial Exmark is built on Hydro Gear ZT 5400 transaxles rated for around 3,000 hours with cast spindles and 7-gauge decks, meaning 1,500 hours is barely middle age. You are buying a machine with more life left in it than a brand new homeowner unit will ever have. Method 2, 1 step up in price and 0 steps up in complexity, is a new Ferris with their patented suspension system, specifically the IS 700 or IS 2200 series, typically priced between $8,000 and $12,000. The mechanical reason pros love Ferris is not the comfort, although your spine will thank you on uneven ground. It is that the 4-wheel independent suspension keeps the deck level across bumps, which means the cut stays at the height you set instead of scalping every high spot and missing every low one. On a 1-acre lawn with any undulation at all, that translates to roughly 30% fewer passes over the same season because you are not going back to fix scalped lines. And method 3, the one a serious professional would actually reach for, is Skag. Specifically the Tiger Cat 2 or the Turf Tiger 2, priced between $11,000 and $17,000 depending on deck width and engine. The reason Skag sits at the top is the deck itself. It is 7-gauge welded steel with a deeper than standard pitch, which generates more vacuum under the blades, which lifts the grass blade taller before the cut, which is the actual mechanical reason a Skag cut lawn looks striped and uniform in a way a box store mower never will. You are not paying for the badge. You are paying for airflow geometry under a deck. Those are your 3. A used commercial Exmark, a new Ferris with suspension, or a Skag if you want the machine that will outlast the house. Part 3, prevention. This is the rule I made you wait for. The entire reason this video exists. And now I am going to give it to you straight. Buy from a servicing dealer, not a store. That is the rule. Not a brand, not a horsepower number, not a deck size. A servicing dealer is any independent outdoor power equipment shop that sells the mower, stocks the parts, and turns the wrenches under the same roof. The mechanical reason the single decision outweighs every brand argument is that a zero turn is not an appliance. It is a hydraulic machine with belts, bearings, spindles, and transaxles that all wear on predictable schedules. And the difference between a 15-year mower and a 4-year mower is whether someone changes the hydro fluid at 200 hours, regreases the spindles every 25 hours, and adjusts the deck pitch every spring. A big box store cannot do any of that. A servicing dealer does all of it, often with a pick up and deliver winter service plan for around $250 a year. That $250 saves you roughly $800 in preventable repairs every single season, and adds an estimated 5 to 7 years of useful life to the machine. Now, which one is for you? If you mow under half an acre and you genuinely do not care about stripes or speed, a used commercial Exmark from a local crew is the smartest dollar in this entire video. If you mow between half an acre and 2 acres and your ground is bumpy or sloped, a Ferris with suspension will save your back and your cut quality, and it is the machine I would point a 50-year-old homeowner toward without hesitation. If you mow 2 acres or more, or you simply want the last mower you will ever buy, a Skag from a servicing dealer is the answer, and the resale value in 10 years will shock you. Now, here is the new problem you are about to run into the second you start shopping this way. The moment you walk into an independent dealer and ask about a used commercial Exmark or a new Ferris, the first question they will ask you is what deck width you want, and most homeowners pick the widest one they can afford because wider sounds faster. It is the next mistake, and it will cost you gate clearance, trim time, and fuel for the next decade. If you are about to shop for a zero turn and you are not sure whether to go with a 48, a 52, or a 60-inch deck, drop the word deck in the comments below and tell me the size of your lot, because the next video is going to break down deck width by property type down to the foot, and I will tell you exactly which one fits your gate, your trees, and your turning radius. Subscribe so it lands in your feed the day it goes up, because if you get the brand right and the deck wrong, you just bought the wrong mower all over again. And before you close this video and start scrolling through marketplace listings tonight, let me give you the 3 things that separate a smart used commercial purchase from a $5,000 mistake, because I have watched too many people in my comment section get burned on a machine that looked clean in the photos. First ask for the hour meter reading and then ask to see it powered on, not just a number written in the ad. A Kawasaki FX engine on a commercial Exmark is rated for roughly 3,500 hours before a rebuild, and a Kohler Command Pro will give you close to 3,000 if the oil was changed every 100 hours. If the seller cannot tell you the last oil change interval, walk away. In 2019, I bought a Laser Z with 1,100 hours from a landscaper in Ohio for $3,800, and that machine is still cutting 6 seasons later because the previous owner, a guy named Dale who ran a 4-truck operation outside Akron, handed me a binder with every service record going back to 2014. Second, check the spindles by grabbing each blade and rocking it up and down. Any vertical play means the bearings are going, and a set of 3 commercial spindles will run you between $400 and $700 in parts alone, plus 4 hours of labor if you pay a shop. Third, look at the deck from underneath with a flashlight. Surface rust is fine and expected. Pitting that you can catch a fingernail on means the deck has another 2 or 3 seasons before it cracks at the spindle mounts, and a replacement deck shell on a 60-inch Exmark is roughly $2,200 if you can even find one. Do those 3 checks and you will filter out 90% of the junk listings in your area. Skip them and you become the next guy posting in a Facebook group asking why his $3,200 bargain just threw a rod in the middle of the backyard.